Monday pops up. It was a naval airfield where I was, and I was walking around my T-38 and getting it ready to go, take off, and just about 2 or 3 minutes after takeoff, I realized I had an engine problem. Not a big deal with the T-38. It's got 2 engines, but I went, I don't want to turn around and go back to the
Navy base.
Yeah, the Navy base, because they probably don't have any T-38 stuff. And I went to myself, I think they got SR-71s up there at Beagle Air Force Base, and I'm just gonna go over there because it wasn't very far away. So sure enough, I had to declare an emergency, but it wasn't an emergency, but you have to. Landed. They parked me. Got out of the T-38, and the maintainers are coming around saying, what was wrong, what did you feel, what did you do? And, okay, you're going to be here overnight because we're probably going to have to put a new engine in your airplane. So I'm like, no, okay. And in the meantime, while I'm listening to this, and this was a beautiful day, I look up and I'm going, what is this? It was these crazy looking airplanes with these crazy long wings, just kind of flying around and doing touch and goes. And what is this? And the guy that was standing next to me, next to my broken airplane, he goes, where you been, man? This is Beagle Air Force Base. We have SR-71s and U-2s. I said, I didn't think we had any U-2s anymore. He goes, nope, this is where to go for U-2s. I said, that's incredible. Well, I'll go get a room and everything for the night, but is there any way I can get any contact with one of these U-2 people? And he says, this is before, the phones. And here, right this time, he gives me so I got to my queue room, and then I made that call. And the guy that answered was one of the U-2 guys and a trainer and all that stuff. I said, hey, I just came out here and I broke my airplane, T-38, and is there any way I can get out there and see some of this stuff? He goes, be out front in 10 minutes, I'll be there. So he picked me up, and we went out there, and this is another one of the greatest, a side duty is taking basically a race car and chasing airplanes.
Yeah.
And that's what we did for about 2 hours, was flying behind the U-2s and how that works, and we can talk about that later.
Yeah,
maybe.
please.
And I was just, again, aghast by what was going on here. This is just crazy. We got done, I guess about 4:35 in the afternoon. And he says, well, you want to come over to the squadron bar and have cool beer? And I said, well, no, I don't want to do that. Okay. So when we went and got in there, and there were quite a few U-2 pilots sitting in there, I was just kind of sitting there quietly listening to some of the things they had done and what they were doing. And there was just a buzz with that squadron. It was beyond anything else I'd ever had. Even though everything else I had was great, this thing was, you got to be kidding me. How does this work? Why do you do this? And all this stuff. So they started talking to me and everything. And I said, I think I just found my next assignment. And I needed to have one more assignment before I could get out of the Air Force to go, be an airline guy. So, and I was looking at other things. If I hadn't had that engine failure, I probably would have gone to one of the other things that they were offering me for the last,
Yeah.
So, came home, talked to my beautiful wife, because it's not a real good thing for people that they're going to be gone a long time. U-2s, they go places.
Yeah.
And they stay in places. We talked about it, looked at it, and like she always would say, well, if you want to do that, do that. I said, no, come on, really, you know what's going to go on here. Yeah, let's do it. So it's a 2-week process to interview for the U-2 program. And so I got got out there. The first week is you're working with ops and DOs and colonels and trainers and stuff like that. They're just trying to find out, first of all, do you really know, how long you're going to be gone? Do you really realize that, you're going to be here, you're going to be there, there's going to be weird stuff? Do you realize? They're really trying to make sure that you're going to be the person that's going to go, that's what I want to do. There's no way I'm not going to do that. And there's others that say, that is kind of a little too much maybe, So that's what they're trying to find out. Are you the one that's not going to be whining?
Right. Yeah.
And I wasn't going to be whining. And then the second portion of the interview was actually 3 flights in the U-2. We had the U-2s with 2 cockpits. And they would put us in the back seat because that was a little bit better to see. And we would take off, and I think, as I recall, go up to about 10,000 feet. And the instructor would do some things, because this is a weird airplane. This is a really weird airplane. And we learned some of this stuff. The big thing is you have to learn how to fly the U-2. Very, 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 very difficult to fly U-2. If you can't quite do that, you go home.
And to land it.
Landing, yeah. The landing is really,
Right.
was really weird.
Yeah.
But because of all the weird flying I'd had as a kid and, tail draggers and all that stuff, I just fell right into it.
Really? Yeah.
Just fell right into it.
I gotta imagine it's a pretty selective program. No.
Well, it is a selective. I think there's only, now the SR-71's gone, but it was selected. The U-2 and then the Thunderbirds. Those are the ones you have to go interview with. Everything else, MPC can make you do it. That kind of
Okay.
stuff.
All right.
So going to the U-2 is something that you really put a lot of thought into before you do. Think of your wife, your kids, things like that. But anyways, I aced the interview, and they said, you're in.